Anyone can be watching this live.
Who cares? There'll be a few.
Yeah. I mean, Mitch, because it's like 2 o'clock in the day.
All right, buddy. You ready to do
Let's
this?
do it.
Episode 585, Top 10 Sports Stories of 2019. Live in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from the Smut Studio in Venice Beach, California, with my co-host, Tug Coker.
Hello, Andy.
I like it.
That felt tired. I'm just so tired. It's the 23rd of December. We're all doing our last-minute Christmas shopping. You don't have kids. I have two. I'm going into the teeth of the Lion's Den, Century City Mall, looking for a Paw Patrol tower for my 3-year-old, fighting off people, elbowing people away from the Toy Story 4 material, the PJ Masks stuff. I'm getting a green smoothie, but I'm nervous. I'm panicking. I double down and get a Shake Shack burger. I'm tired.
Well, Tug, we are all here for you.
Thank you.
Myself, Joe Prano, who will be on later in the episode on the audio portion to make our picks. So you guys get double duty today from the Twin Towers. And also the Dirtballs. I know they are here for you. But I want to say something. I don't have kids, but you can't dismiss 7 nephews and nieces that I got to shop for.
That's true. And what's your thought process on how to divvy up presents between 7 nieces and nephews?
Well, here's the thought process. I've been getting them stuff because, a lot of them are young. As you know, the dollar can go far with young ones. So probably between the ages of, 8 through babies are all of them, but one. My one niece is 16, so she's the only one that's older. So I went on Amazon. This is what my mom told me to do. Obviously, I can't pack all this stuff either. My mom said, dude, go on Amazon. Just ship it all to the house. And I spread it out. Like $100 basically got me 6 of the 7. But here's the kicker. So it wasn't that much money. Here's the kicker. My one brother texted all the brothers Saturday, December 21st. He has twins. My kids have way too much stuff. They're spoiled. Don't get them anything. And then my little brother, who has 3 kids, follows up with, yeah, same for my kids. And I was like, guys, not that I spent that much, but you don't let people know December 21st that you don't want presents for your kids. And I know they meant it. They're not just saying that. So, a little bit of plan this shit out earlier. I know you got families to work to think about, and I don't, but come on.
I actually didn't get a lot of stuff for my kid, but my place is not that big, and so every little like a Paw Patrol tower is gonna it's gonna make this place feel even smaller. It's
By the way, I'm familiar with Paw Patrol.
Oh my God, I've seen every episode because I'm up at friggin' 5:30 in the morning. I got nothing else to do but watch Paw Patrol. The kid's waking me up. That's why I love coming here. I was talking to Jesus last week. Yo, you don't have to ask me twice to get away from my kids. I am here. I'm ready to go. I got myself a beverage. It's the holiday break. And what people don't know about the entertainment industry is that it shuts down for 2 weeks between Christmas, basically,
And Hanukkah.
Christmas, and then through the New Year's. There's a 2-week break where really no work is done. Everyone sort of says, pencils down.
Yeah. We're the only ones in L.A. and Hollywood working.
That's right. We're grinding it out. And I'm excited because I'm excited about what we're going to be talking about tonight.
I'm excited, too.
And it is late, but, yeah, it's time to party. It's the end of the decade.
My neighbors are like, well, they went late last week, but that guy was screaming at the other guy. This other guy tonight sounds a little more quieter, a little more composed. He's not yelling at the short guy.
Well, I'm going to yell at Joe later. No, I'm just kidding. I as always, shout out to my man, Joe Prano. Thanks for letting me keep the seat warm. I look forward to seeing you in 2020. I'm going to miss you for the rest of the year. But
I got to give him a shout out, too. I got a Christmas gift from Prano today. It's I wish I had it right next to me. It's a Cincinnati Reds commemorative hat of their 5 World Series championships. So the front of it has, of course, the Reds logo. It has the 5 years where they've won titles. And I always laugh when I see that because they list 1919 because they did win it. The White Sox also threw it. So I'm kind of like, Reds, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are listing 1919 as winning your 5 World Series. You also literally had the World Series thrown to you.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I also got a gift from Joe today, which was an apology that Jacoby Brissett is a good quarterback.
Really? It doesn't sound like Joe Prano.
Big of Joe. It was really big of him, you know.
Yeah.
I want to say shout out to Joe for DMing me and saying, happy holidays. And Jacoby got the Colts 7 wins, and he's better than I thought. So I appreciate Joe doing that. That's really cool.
Well, you can make money if the Colts close out Week 17.
That's correct. That's really all I care about. I don't really, I don't have any reason to get into the Jacoby discussion other than I need him to make money for me because I took the over 7.5 wins for the Colts at the beginning of basically when they dropped it after the 3rd preseason game when it went from 9.5 with Andrew Luck to 7.5 with Jacoby Brissett.
Is it true that the Paw Patrol is riding on the Colts' victory?
Absolutely. I have the gift receipt ready to go. If they don't win, it's going right back. I actually asked them today. It was like a pop-up Nickelodeon store. I said, just out of curiosity, what are you guys not popping up anymore? They said December 31st. I said, okay.
Good. I got time.
Come on, Colts.
I got time for Jacoby to either make or break my child's Christmas.
That's right.
Now, you had a great idea for today's show. You said, Ruther, we should do a top 10 sports stories of 2019. You come with your own top 10. I'll come with my own top 10. Debate, discuss, and here we are.
I'm excited to see where, I'm sure we'll crisscross a lot of different stories, but I think it's about the placement of where the stories are, which is what I'm excited about. I'll have a few off the grid. I know you have a few off the grid.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped about it. But one of them is not going to be the Monday Night Football game that we watched.
No.
Tonight.
No. Ugly.
I mean, look, the Packers could find themselves as the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And you and I both agree. Have they had like a defining, like that they look awesome win? We haven't seen that yet.
Well, obviously they started very sloppy. 3 turnovers in the first half. They only scored 9 points.
But we all knew when they cut the lead, when they cut the game to 10-9 at halftime, with 3 turnovers in the first half. We all knew.
Everyone.
Every single person on earth, even Kirk Cousins, and every Vikings fan in that stadium was like, "This game's over."
Done. You just can't give Aaron Rodgers that many opportunities and that close of a lead. Like you said, 3 turnovers. The Vikings had 2 first downs. He threw for 26 yards in the first half.
7 first downs total.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is 0-9, and I like the Vikings, and I don't think they're a threat to win the Super Bowl now because I think there's just too many obstacles in the way.
Yeah.
They may have to go to Green Bay again. They may have to go to New Orleans, and they may have to go to Seattle. Seattle's probably their best chance of winning a game.
Look, guys have bad games. We both agree. Guys have bad games.
Of course.
But you can't be, as a guy who saw Andy Dalton way too closely, you can't be, because they are really similar. And shout out to Jay Lloyd, because I'm like, can you create the Spider-Man thing with Andy Dalton pointing to Kirk Cousins? It is. It's the same person. It's this meltdown. I know he didn't have much time tonight, but it's this habitual poor performances when it matters. Monday Night Football, primetime, playoffs, you name it.
I mean, it's really just. I mean, it's mainly primetime. I mean, it's mainly Monday Night Football for Kirk Cousins. He's 0-9.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's beating that stat down, but that's a crazy.
It's a crazy stat.
And he's good enough. It's totally in his head.
It is.
Because he is good enough. He has good weapons. I think, part of the reason is Mike Zimmer is so too conservative. I mean, Stenga might have to weigh in on this, and Charlie Ryan and the guys of the Minnesota, Dirt Ball Association.
Yeah.
But, they're just too conservative.
Yeah.
And they took a shot at that nice little Philly special, and, Stephon Diggs overthrows Kirk Cousins by a mile.
The dive was funny.
And it was a very awkward dive.
You should see our Instagram.
I did. I think I liked it.
The millennials, the just freaking out. Yeah, he gave it all he could. It was funny just because you didn't even have to dive. It was just you weren't near the ball. I agree with you, and I think it's psychological at this point. I think Cousins, you should see a psychiatrist. You should do float lab. Whatever you need. You should read Andy Ruther's Black Box Thinking. Shout out to Mitch for that. Changed my life. You need to do something because you look so good in so many games, and then Monday Night Football hits, and you're not playing well. I will say this about the Packers, though, man. They ran the ball great against that tough Vikings defense. Aaron Jones, I believe, had over 150 yards. If their D plays like how they played tonight and they can run the ball, they're going to be tough, man.
I agree, and we've made some. There's been a couple tug nugs in the past about the Packers, and I think we've talked about when you and I were working earlier, in the fall, that there's been a bit of a changing of the guard with the Packers. This is not necessarily just Aaron Rodgers' team anymore.
Not even close.
For them to be successful, Aaron Jones has to be the guy. This is the third game this year that the Packers have won where Aaron Rodgers did not throw a touchdown pass.
Yeah. I believe he was 16 of 30 for 200-something yards.
A lot of people get a lot of flack for not throwing touchdowns and winning. They're seen as lesser quarterbacks. Somehow Aaron Rodgers is not who he used to be. I think that's just a fact. But he's still great. He's still a top 10 quarterback.
He had some throws though tonight where they were pretty awesome.
I think he's still top. I mean, he's maybe top 5. I mean, is he top 5?
Yeah. I hear the rumblings of people when you say that. Now,
but my point is that you're right. As we talked about this earlier, that Aaron Jones has to be the man for this team to excel. Defense does look good. The Vikings, I said this on another podcast, but they have been a sieve for wide receiver ones. It happened again tonight. Devontae Adams had 13 catches and 16 attempts.
Xavier Rhodes is bad.
Just not what he used to be.
No. You see the stat they showed?
I didn't see it, no.
It was some wild stat of 8. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was 8. Maybe it was just against the number ones. There was an 83% completion rate against him. 83%, dude.
I mean, Trey Waynes used to be the guy that everyone picked on last year. And so, and obviously there were some injuries tonight, too, for the Vikings defense. So, a team that I think has a lot of potential. Dalvin Cook actually shows his importance by not playing tonight.
But you know what, dude? Take the injury shit out of it. I'm going to steal him from my buddy, my guy, Prime Time. Dion harps on this all the time, especially this time of year. That's what he was saying last night. Everybody's using, like the Seahawks, all their running backs go down yesterday. Cool, plug in the next running back. Obviously Dalvin Cook's a great running back. But this argument, guys, we're in week 17 of the NFL season. Injuries happen. They do. And you just still got to play. Everybody's got to play. Next man up mentality. The good teams don't let it affect them. In fact, the year the Packers won the Super Bowl, they were decimated when they went on that run. But they're going to be tough, man, especially if they get a 1 or 2 seed. And they will.
They have a 2 seed right now. They're going to beat Detroit.
Nobody wants to go through Lambeau.
So my question to you, though, is, without giving you away your picks with Joe Prano, you're going to give away a pick here. Who's going to be the 1 seed for the NFC?
Well, it's either the 49ers or the Packers.
Yep.
I don't know. Can I be lame and say that right now?
Sure. I mean, you're going to answer it later on the podcast, so it's fine.
Marshawn is officially signed. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I saw that.
I don't know if that matters. I don't know what his shape is. But they signed him and they signed Turbin, who's also a former Seahawk running back. But again, my point is I'm not making that excuse for the Seahawks of, you're literally down your top 3 running backs. You brought a guy off the street who's been eating Skittles. That's not an excuse. You're at home. But I think right now I'm leaning towards the 49ers. Right now. It's going to be exciting, though, bro.
I keep coming back to that Niners-Seahawks first game where the Niners, they messed up overtime. They should have just played for a draw. Instead, they punted and they lost the game. And now they're coming down to this. It's crazy.
So if the Seahawks win, are they the 2?
No, they're the
Saints would be the 2.
yeah. The Saints will be the 2, and then they'll be the 3.
Yeah. But you know what? The Seahawks have lost 3 games at home this year. To me, it doesn't matter.
And they lost. They won a game off a missed field goal by the Rams. They could have lost 4 games in Seattle this year.
They just look better on the road, including Russell Wilson. He doesn't look good at all at home. So I don't know what it is. You want to get to this top 10 list?
I'm excited about it. Let's do it.
I'm excited. Before we do that, guys, if you're going to go to any NFL playoff games, get those tickets on SeatGeek, the official ticket app sponsor of the Dirty Sports Podcast. If you take a quick look at the app, they have over 50,000 5-star reviews. Talk about customer satisfaction. SeatGeek pulls millions of tickets together from all over the web, then they rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And they have that amazing interactive map, which you can see exactly where you're sitting. And I know we talked about this last episode. You know, the new SoFi Stadium out here in Los Angeles, they don't have that interactive map yet because they haven't had any events. But that's what I love about SeatGeek. You can see exactly where you're going to sit. And SeatGeek will even give you $10 off on your first SeatGeek purchase. All you need to do is use our promo code. So download the SeatGeek app today and use promo code DIRTY for $10 off on your first purchase. That's promo code DIRTY for $10 off on your first purchase. And it's a good gift, seriously. If you want to take your family out to a play, a musical, an event, whatever it is, use SeatGeek, drop promo code DIRTY, send me a screenshot, and I will send you some koozies when I get back because I will be leaving on Christmas Day. Okay. Are you doing a sneak peek?
I haven't seen.
Do you want a sneak peek?
Nope. Stayed true. Didn't look.
Okay, so these are our top 10 sports stories. I'm excited about this.
And our agreement is to go 10 to 1.
Yes.
And then we'll talk a little bit about them. And I'll say, that's my number 5, whatever. And then, and we'll see what we left out.
Cool.
Let's do it.
I think you should go first. You are the guest in the Smut Studio.
Okay, I'll go first. And I had some difficulty with number 10 because
me too.
There's a few choices I want to put. I might even flip it from what I have now. I am gonna go with the U.S. women's national team winning the World Cup.
We're gonna have such different lists. The fact that made your list is just going to reveal how different our lists are going to be.
Well, that makes it exciting. You know what?
This made your top 10 list of sports stories.
To me, it's number 10 because you know why? The President of the United States mixed it up.
Okay.
With the athletes.
I see where you're going.
So became a national story. I think that was more interesting 4 years ago when for the 4 soccer heads out there, when Carly Lloyd had a hat trick in the World Cup final. That was probably more exciting. Pretty dominant performance, but they did mix it up with the President of the United States. And
Megan Rapinoe?
Yeah, Rapinoe, I believe she goes by.
I don't even know her name.
And for me, I left out a few other ones that we can talk about later, but for me, and I also don't think we're going to have any other female athlete stories
definitely not on
this list. So for me, I'm doing it for the ladies. Could have had Coco Gauff on there, the teenage tennis player who made some waves in Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. But I'm going with the U.S. women's national team at number 10.
All right.
Sports moments of the year. Andy Ruther.
My number 10. Now it's a lot of times I'm not picking one thing. You'll find this interesting about my list.
Okay.
My number 10 is how college transfers dominated college football. I thought that's an interesting storyline as we move into the future. So of the 4 Heisman finalists, you had Justin Fields transfer from Georgia to Ohio State. Jalen Hurts, Bama to Oklahoma transfer. And, of course, the Heisman winner, Joe Burrow, Ohio State to LSU transfer. That's why it made number 10 for me. We've never seen anything like this, ever.
I like the idea a lot. It's not, I think it's for the purposes of this show. I think it's amazing because I think the best band name that has not been used yet is Transfer Portal.
I love it.
Great band name. Feel free, all you millennials out there starting a band, feel free to use Transfer Portal and just cite me. Everyone's in the transfer portal nowadays.
But that's my point, is that the college game has changed. That's why this made number 10 on my list, is that I thought that was pretty fascinating when I was watching the Heisman ceremony, and Burrow talked about that, which I liked in his speech and with the other guys that made the finalist with him. We've never seen this. Am I correct in this? Until recently.
Baker Mayfield is a part of that.
But I'm saying at this rate.
The rate, I agree with you. The rate is happening more than we've ever seen. I think I'm a product of the transfer portal, having gone from William and Mary, an esteemed red shirt freshman that never played.
It had a different name back then.
Yeah, Blueser. Yeah, but no, I think it's interesting. I think it's cool that Joe Burrow. And it was pretty interesting to see that these guys, Chase Young and Joe Burrow were like teammates.
There's a lot of storylines.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting that he's actually the one guy who, when he gets drafted by Cincinnati, he's going to be excited. Being an Ohio guy, I think he's like pumped up to play in Ohio. Maybe I'm wrong.
I feel sympathy for the kid. You're heading to Cincinnati.
But what if he brings the Super Bowl?
He won't.
He eats all the chili he wants for the rest of his life. He'll eat chili for free,
dude,
for life. Skyline for life.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've said this to everybody. They drafted Carson Palmer. They had Marvin Lewis. The team completely turned around. They had all those weapons. It doesn't, as long as that guy named Michael Brown and the Brown family owns the Cincinnati Bengals, they will not do anything.
You want to know something funny about the Bengals, which I think is so weird? A.J. Green was on their roster. They played, and Mike Clay said this on Twitter today.
Did you see this?
They played every game this year but one with 52 players, which is just bad strategy.
Yeah.
They took an unhealthy guy.
He just got put on injured reserve.
Injured reserve today.
That is my point. I saw that from Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
I saw that today. That is a microcosm of that organization. That A.J. Green was just now put on the injured reserve. You had one less player, basically, the entire year.
Absolutely. But to bring it back to the transfer idea, I think it is unique because we haven't seen this at the rate that we've seen this ever before. And a lot of times people saw transfers as, a lot of old school people see transfers as quitters.
Yes.
Not playing through adversity.
Sounds like a boomer.
It is an okay boomer. Because when you're a quarterback, you only have so many opportunities.
I agree.
You got to go somewhere that you can play and win. I mean,
and it's like I said recently on this show, the thought, again, it goes back to players leaving their teams at the professional level, right? Or teaming up, Tug. This notion of upgrading your life and doing what's best for you is somehow demonized, I feel, in the sports world.
I mean, I transferred from one university to another, so I can speak on that. And my feeling was, I have 4 years of this.
Yeah.
I want to maximize my experience.
Yeah.
And that's what these guys are saying. I have 4 or 5 years of eligibility. I don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
Sitting behind the guy who's the same year as me.
Now, I did it a little differently. I wanted to maximize an extra year of college.
Did you go 5 years?
I did a double major, which I knew would elevate me into college for a 5th year.
It's also elevated you in life.
Yes.
I mean, look at where we are now. Giant hole in the bathroom.
They're fixing it when I'm gone.
You can see through to the other apartment.
They're fixing it while I'm gone.
Okay, good.
Let's hope. Okay, so that is our number 10 for both of us. You want me to keep it going? Number 9?
Yeah, snake draft.
All right, number 9. I didn't know where to put this, but it had to make my list. But it's not as high up as you might think. Colin Kaepernick's NFL workout.
Very interesting. Didn't make my list.
Here's why. We've talked about him for so many years. He does the workout, and even to this day, we have all these odd questions. Who was behind it? I mean, we have everything from Jay-Z to Stephen A. Smith to all these other people. We finally had, I would say, movement in the situation. But we really didn't. So here I am as someone who watches all this and was hoping that he could get on a team just to see how he play. And I'm still left with a lot of questions. But it made number 9 on my list.
To me, I didn't make the list because it felt like a charade the entire time.
I can see that.
I felt like both sides were never really serious. Everyone used it as an opportunity to sort of bolster their own PR claims.
Yeah.
And so, and I agree. There's probably going to be an article in The Athletic come out in the offseason talking about the details for why they switched the location at the last minute and who did what and et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's important. I like following the Kaepernick journey, but it's like I don't know what the analogy is because it's like it's never going to happen. So it's like from a sports standpoint, it's just time to move on.
Yeah. Well, at this point, there was that glimmer. So you're saying there's a chance? That's been evaporated.
I mean, do I think he should be playing? Yes. Do I think
Sure.
he will be? No.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So what did you have for number 9?
Tom Brady winning his 6th Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Number 9. I think it's important because he becomes the only player in the history of the NFL to have 6 Super Bowl rings. The game wasn't glamorous. Didn't play great.
No.
It was really more of a testament.
3-3 into halfway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it really was a testament to how great Bill Belichick is. I think
my
we all
God.
saw, maybe not Brady cementing his legacy, but benefiting from Belichick being the best.
Yeah.
6 rings. And I'll say this, and I wanted to bring this in for another reason. I'm a huge Sean McVay guy. And Sean McVay, I think, by his own admission, kind of got exposed coaching against the best. But here's where I think Sean McVay showed his real inexperience. Who's the coach of the Packers?
LaFleur?
Matt
LaFleur?
And he's a guy from Sean McVay, right?
So he was the Rams' offensive coordinator.
So why doesn't Sean McVay take the Packers job? I mean, if Sean McVay knows that I call every play for Jared Goff, he knows the truth about Jared Goff. He knows that we're going to get discovered. That
this is an interesting take.
When the 15 seconds are left, they shut off the mic to the helmet. Jared Goff's on his own. I basically have created Jared Goff. And if I'm Sean McVay, do I know it's only a matter of time before Jared Goff gets exposed? Why didn't he? He should have jumped ship and coached the Green Bay Packers.
I like this. I like this a lot.
I think it's
now maybe
if everyone's looking for a top 5 or what we talked about quarterback. Aaron Rodgers probably has 5 years, 6 years left. Would you rather have 5 years with Aaron Rodgers or 8 years, 10 years with Jared Goff? I mean, that's what I was saying. That would have been the best move I think of all time. If you take the Rams to the Super Bowl and you abandon ship to go to Aaron Rodgers.
It would have turned into a top 5 story for us.
That would have been top 5.
Easy.
And I'm thinking about tonight. I'm like, because remember in the offseason, everyone was like, if you shook hands with Sean McVay, you get an interview. So Sean McVay should have been snooping around, being like, how can I upgrade my scenario?
By the way, how about the Sean McVay coaching tree already? 2 NFL head coaches.
1 and 14, 1 11-3 or 12-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Pretty amazing though. Maybe
Is
it's
it quarterback related?
Maybe it's because he didn't want to leave L.A. He didn't want to live in Green Bay.
I mean, he does have that Instagram fiance lifestyle.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers can do that too.
True.
Anyway.
I like it, Tom.
Number 9 on my list, Tom Brady winning Super Bowl number 6.
All right. Keep it going, Coker. Number 8. It's all you.
This is going to be off the grid.
Can't wait.
This is going to be off the grid because I'm already seeing where we're going. Some people are going with stories. Some people are going with moments. And I'm going to go with – this is going to freak people out, I think. The Kentucky Derby.
You know what? When I was looking through storylines today, I said to myself, I bet Tug uses this wild Kentucky Derby finish and then
People forget about this story.
disqualification.
First time in Kentucky Derby history. Happens a little bit more regularly in other races. But the horse that finished first, Maximum Security, gets disqualified.
Yeah.
And Country House wins the Kentucky Derby. And the reason I bring this up is I remember watching this and being – sometimes I get prisoner of the moment, and it's the drama of watching this unfold where nobody knew what was happening. And you think about this. I mean, horses can't – they don't know what they're winning. They don't care at all. But to be in a position where trainers and people making money have won all this money.
Lots of money.
Have it taken away.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal. So that's for me. Great story. Makes number 8 on my list.
And I'll never forget number 8 because I was watching from Cincinnati because I had to run a goddamn marathon the next day.
the marathon number 2.
Yeah.
Within a month for you, basically.
Yeah. And I just remember being like, I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. to run a marathon. And it was raining, and I just, so I'll never forget that day either. Now, my number 8, Tug, I assume he's on your list. Antonio Brown.
He's not on my list, but because I thought you would take him.
I didn't know where to put him, but the saga of Antonio Brown, to me, he had to make the top 10. I wasn't sure where to put him, but in my memory, I mean, we've seen guys go AWOL and off the grid, so to speak, mentally. But, I mean, we've never seen anything like this.
I definitely think it's worthy. I'm glad you did it because it crossed my mind. It's such good timing for Antonio Brown to be on the list because Hard Knocks added to the legendary status for Antonio Brown in 2019.
Yeah.
The commercial, the video he made where he gets John Gruden's taped voicemail.
Yeah.
Where we get the video of him running through the glass door, sliding glass doors into the yard saying, I'm free. Him being the best wide receiver on the New England Patriots this year.
I mean, that to me, that's like one of the crazy storylines is that he played one game, he balled.
Scored a touchdown, took a selfie with Tom Brady, lived in his house.
There's so many storylines, and he won't stop tweeting, talking shit, apologizing. It's this giant circle, and he won't stop doing it. He's when Kanye was going crazy on Twitter, and Kanye's whole thing. I guess some people might say Kanye's still going crazy. I see a lot of similarities between those two. And I wonder, from all reports, it says a lot of teams want him on their team next year. A lot of organizations are interested. But it makes you wonder.
It absolutely does make you wonder. I mean, you look at, like, not even on par, but Janoris Jenkins quickly gobbled up by the Saints. I mean, people, if you can play, you still get chances unless you're Colin Kaepernick.
And he can still play.
Absolutely. Showed it this year.
And for the sake of my anus, he needs to play. Because basically, at the end of this year, it's under 4,500 yards. Odell is chasing him, which obviously Odell had a bad year too. Like Odell was kind of out there now too. You're like, what's going to happen with his future?
I mean, that's like a footnote on the year. Just who knows what he's going to be next year. I made a mistake of drafting him on a fantasy team. Benched him. I mean, just not good.
So AB is my number 8 in the Antonio Brown saga, which again is going on at this very moment. Who's your number 8?
Well, I had it at the Derby. You're going 7 now. Give me 7.
I didn't want to put him this high or low, however you're looking at it. But he had to make my list. I wish he was higher, but I was like, "Come on, Andy, just be realistic." O.J. Simpson joins Twitter.
Well, you hinted at this to me yesterday.
I did.
That this might make it. So I'm glad he's here.
The Juice joined Twitter, and I've loved every moment of it. OJ joined Twitter in June. He's at 923,000 tweets And here's what's crazy. I continue to say, what's he pushing? What's he pushing? He finally pushed something a week ago.
Swag.
He pushed a Keep Up the Juice for the holidays shirt. It's available on Amazon. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's not cheap. It's a holiday juice sweater for $50. It's a picture of OJ. And I'm getting one.
Absolutely.
You know it's worth $50. So OJ joining Twitter, to me it hasn't lost its luster because I don't know how much of him you watch, but it's really, really funny because I think it's a combination of things. He's a lunatic, obviously. There's some CTE. There's just so much in his videos. And I don't feel like no one's talking about this but me. He always laughs and chuckles awkwardly almost. You ever meet that person that just laughs?
Oh, sure.
When you shouldn't be laughing? And I don't know if I'll ever release this, but I have a full, lengthy conversation. The camera was on with Sean Merriman about OJ before you got here. Last time Sean was here. It's nothing bad. It's not like I'm holding anything against Sean. But Sean and I were talking about OJ, and Sean had a few ideas, and we both were laughing. It was probably like a 10-minute conversation about OJ. And Sean's pitch was that a knife company should legitimately have OJ endorse something, or just OJ do a video with a knife. And we were kind of discussing how that would play out. And the negative press, Sean was convinced that the negative press would be outweighed by the publicity for that knife. Which I was like, this is kind of a fascinating discussion. Of like, would there be enough backlash? And
I think it would destroy that knife company.
You think it would?
I do. In cancel culture.
And that's what I
100%.
said. That's what I said. His response was, I don't know, because it's like such a random thing. It's not canceling a TV show. Who's the person who's like, I'm not buying those knives? But anyway, that's a whole other side conversation. OJ, number 7 on my list.
Oh, I have two side questions for you. One, and you made me think of it. If we were to go back in time to the OJ trial,
yeah,
and we were aware that there was a thing called CTE, would this play a part of OJ's defense in any way? I don't think you can, because it involves some sort of level of that he would do it. But I'm just if either one side or the other brings in CTE, maybe the prosecution brings in CTE.
Well, I think it's a great point, and I don't know if you know this. Aaron Hernandez's brother, did you know this? Wrote an entire book about why he killed people because he had CTE. I mean, this is now turning into a thing.
Is that Jameis 101?
I mean, we're living. It's funny. We live in cancel culture. We also live in no accountability culture, where nobody wants to take blame or accountability. I think you're right.
I mean, obviously never know. But my second question to you is actually unrelated, but you made me think of it. Did you watch Eddie Murphy this weekend?
I did not.
Because he makes the Bill Cosby joke.
I saw that.
And I liked it because Bill Cosby, obviously...
His publicist responded.
Correct. But, Bill Cosby obviously was critical of Eddie Murphy in the 80s for being too risque or too... Not wholesome.
And a negative influence on the black community.
Yes, and Eddie Murphy's been sitting on it for 30 years and makes a nice little joke about it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I saw it.
So it just made me think of, like, the comeuppance that people get, like maybe OJ, with...
I'm sitting on stuff. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sitting on stuff.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready for these things to explode and just talk shit to people. Actually, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't think I do. Now, Joe Prano, my co-host, a little different. So my number 7 is O.J. Simpson joining Twitter. What is your number 7 sports story / moment of 2019?
Number 7 for me is the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup. And here's why. St. Louis Blues, they were the worst team in the NHL.
Great story.
On January 6th of 2019. I watched a little video earlier today about the St. Louis Blues. They were dead last.
Yeah.
January 5th. They take a road trip to Philadelphia. They have a night off where they watch the Chicago Bears Philadelphia Eagles game, where the Bears missed the field goal, and they're watching in Philly, and they go to a private or a members only bar. And for those of you who know the story, Gloria became the rallying cry song for the St. Louis Blues. That 80 Gloria, ba da ba, ba da ba da ba da. That's enough of that. Anyway, that happened that night. They were in the bar, and one of the bar patrons requested that song during commercial breaks. They all laughed, but it was like incessant. The next night they win. They bring in a rookie goalie by the name of Jordan Bennington.
Yeah, he crushed it.
They win 3-0. They go on a 3-game winning streak. They play Gloria after every home game. They get on a hot streak, and they shocked the world. It's an incredible story. I mean, and only a handful of people care about hockey. But you think of a team that was
I agree.
in last place, 2 months before the playoffs start, get hot and win the Stanley Cup. It's a great story.
It's a great story. And that's your number 7?
That's my number 7. Yep, and shout out to Ryan O'Reilly winning the Conn Smythe Award.
I love that you have notes. By the way, Tug's notes, I got to read what this says. It says, let me see.
Wake up, kick ass, repeat.
Wake up, kick ass, repeat.
It's an inside joke between my wife and I, but now it's known to the world. Number 6 is going to blow people's minds because this is going to be a shout out to Tommy Dewey.
Ooh.
One of my creative partners and very good friend.
Also former guest of Dirty Sports.
Former guest, of course. Eliud Kipchoge.
It just makes me laugh. Where are you going?
Eliud Kipchoge this year, guys.
He climbed Mount Everest. I can't even say.
Climbed Mount Everest.
Climbed Mount Everest in record-breaking time.
This gentleman ran a marathon in under 2 hours.
Oh yeah, now you're just rubbing it in.
Andy Ruther ran Would you run faster, Cincinnati or L.A.?
Cincinnati.
And that was what?
Like 4:30.
4:30. This guy ran it in 1:59:40.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
It's a personal best, bested by 3 minutes. And the reason I like this story, I'm fascinated.
It is fascinating. What is that per mile? Do you know?
I can't do that math. Someone on YouTube, do the math of 1:59:40 for 26.2 miles. He's a Kenyan. He's 34. And running, just pure running fascinates me because it's kind of like what your and Joe's argument about, like the players and athletes are just better than they were 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I as a fan of sports, I wonder like let's say like Usain Bolt. Is someone going to run the 100? Are we going to see? Are people just evolving so quickly, training people's bodies that we're going to see under? I remember when we saw like Carl Lewis and Ben Johnson were running under 10. Like under 10 was huge. Is under 9 going to happen in our lifetime? Like when does it bottom out? I know there's some scientists out there listening. When is it impossible for humans to improve as athletes?
I don't think it will be. I think we're just constantly evolving, and we are constantly improving.
Do you think we'll see the basket raised in our lifetime?
I think it'll have to. I think you're going to have to. I mean, that was my whole discussion on the dunking, just how easy it is. I just think people really need to watch when they're at home, and when they're not at home, you do see it, right, in person. I mean, we got to witness Lamar Jackson in person. It's just wild. It's a different story when you see the athletic ability of these guys.
We've seen the 3-point line moved 3-4 times.
Yeah.
At what point do we? I mean, you're saying yes. Are we going to raise the rim to 11 feet? Or, I mean, I guess.
And you know what? Shout out to Walt Ruther. He's been saying that for years, but coming from the OK Boomer side, too easy. But maybe there's a nugget of truth to my dad. He's claimed 11 feet. I'm like, that's a little aggressive, Dad.
What happens first? 11 feet or baseball stadiums push out to maximum distances? They probably won't, right? Because everyone loves the homer so much.
Yeah, I'd say the rims. But this is fascinating. He ran a marathon under 2 hours.
Yeah, it's not official because it wasn't considered an open marathon, but like apparently Tommy Dewey was crying. He was crying.
Now that's funny.
But I agree.
What's Tommy's best time? Tommy
3:08, I think, in Boston, something like that.
Christ. You know what? Dewey texted me about running a marathon a few months ago. He said, "There's any marathons? We should do one at the end of the year." But it's like somebody like him, It's like it's like taking your little brother out. It's like, in a way, it's like he's talking 3:08. I'm gonna do a marathon with him. At the time I'm done, he's been gone for 2 hours.
Dude, do you think the guy could run? Honest question or a hypothetical. Because Elliot could Kipchoge.
I know where you're going with this.
Could he run 2 marathons before you finish one?
No. Maybe.
I mean, Nick D'Alessandro's coming. We get Elliot Kipchoge to come out here January.
Oh yeah, Nick is coming, guys. Winter is coming. I bought his ticket today. I see he was in the YouTube comments earlier. One-way ticket. You ain't ever leaving, buddy.
No. Hotel California.
We're gonna rotate. Actually, I texted Prano. He said, "Oh, perfect. The first week Nick's in town. I'm gonna be gone for a few days. He can crash at my place. We can rotate him around."
I mean, you're always welcome to stay in my kid's room. 3-year-old, 1-year-old Nick D'Alessandro.
I don't know. There might not be enough room when that Paw Patrol enters.
So that's my number 6. Just for the sheer idea of like human achievement.
I like it. I agree. I like it. And you're thinking outside the box. Yep. Now my number 6 is almost a throwback to your number 7. Again, I've lumped some things together. My number 6 is first titles.
Love it.
We had some. Listen to these first titles last year. Toronto, fascinating story. First ever non-American team to win the NBA championship. The Washington Nationals had never won a title. The Blues, which you already touched on, had never won a title. And also, this is homage to your Virginia men's basketball team. So my number 6 is 4 unique first titles.
What's amazing about that is you killed a couple of my you've sunk my battleship.
Well,
a few of mine.
I thought you might say that, but I just thought I could. I'm kind of cheating in a way, but I'm lumping together first titles.
Which excites me because now I get to see what your last 5 are going to be when a couple of these are mine. But I agree, it's very exciting. We all are hoping maybe the Vikings could be that team. We said that in a previous podcast when one question from the Dirt Balls was like, what team would you like to see that never won?
Yeah.
As of tonight, doesn't look great.
And I like it. And I think we agree, right? You do like to see the blue bloods, so to speak, right? Everybody likes to see the Patriots and the Yankees and the Lakers and the Celtics. But it's so cool that we've had this happen with 3 teams that never won, and I like it. And your Virginia has a fascinating story, obviously. They go from losing to a number 16 seed to winning it all. And I had zero faith. And you were right, and I was wrong.
Well, you'll see them later on my list, but I agree. We'll talk a little bit more about that story. But, yeah, incredible. Just the run they had, too, which we'll talk about. I want to save that for mine, but great topic. Well done, Andy, for your number 6.
That is my number 6.
And what's your number 5?
My number 5, again, I feel like I'm totally cheating here on lumping things together, is now the not 1 but 2 power teams in the NBA in the city of Los Angeles. I just felt like I couldn't think of another time in history where you had 2 teams who play in the same building, especially in basketball. Most cities don't have 2 teams, obviously. But it's a fascinating time, not just in LA, but for the whole sport. You have the Clippers, especially even after today's wild athletic story with Kawhi Leonard and his uncle, and that he was asking for all these illegal things.
Yeah, great story.
So you have Kawhi, who everybody thinks is going to LA. I'm sorry, going to the Lakers, I should specify. And then they suddenly get Paul George. But the Lakers, obviously, they're playing well. They've lost 3 in a row. But they have Anthony Davis and LeBron. You have 4 future Hall of Famers playing against each other in the same building. And I just find that as a fascinating storyline that's going to be prevalent for probably a couple years in the NBA. And I said this with Prano. We've never seen anything like this. We think about this. We could have a Western Conference Finals, Tug, with 2 teams playing in the same building. Therefore, I've argued I think the Clippers are smart. The number 1 seed doesn't mean anything because the road games, in a way, are home games.
I mean, which is probably why Adam Silver is trying to get ahead of it and say, hey, let's reshuffle. I didn't want to get into it too much, but this idea, that's been
Yeah, Joe and I talked about
released by the NBA,
Yeah.
maybe the reshuffling of seeds. So maybe they thought, like, hey, let's get out of the Western Conference and let's have the Clippers play the Lakers in the finals for the next 2 years.
Now, I don't know if my bias living in Los Angeles it probably did, I'm sure, played into this making my number 5. But again, this is the storyline, right, of the NBA season. It's Lakers-Clippers in the same building. It's got to be.
We haven't seen this kind of collection of talent in one stadium since Eli Manning of the Giants and Mark Sanchez of the New York Jets in the 2011 season. This kind of dominance, it's hard to find.
At old East Rutherford?
That's right. Little OE Rutherford.
Yeah. Well, that is my number 5. And for all those reasons, I put them into the top 5.
My number 5 stays in the NBA. And it's the only thing that's not an event. It's the discussion between the NBA and China.
Ooh, we're starting to match up pretty closely.
Oh, syncing up.
A little glimpse ahead.
Ooh. To me, this story should be higher.
I agree.
But I'm not, because I wanted to encapsulate some of the sports moments. And I don't think this conversation's finished. It should be the sports topic of the year. It somehow has been put into the back closet for the time being. For some reason, people aren't. I haven't heard any discussion from outlets saying where LeBron is going to games and people are throwing out, free Hong Kong or anything like that. So somehow it's been muffled a little bit.
Kind of like the free people of China who have been muffled from having free speech.
That's correct. It's a conversation I think that needs to continue to be stoked.
Yes.
I'm interested to see how it plays out with regards to the relationship between the NBA and China. But I think, it's a big, big story.
I agree. It's a huge story, and I'm shocked kind of the development of where the story has gone, because I think you're right. It's died down quicker than I thought. But why I think it's definitely a top 5 is we've never really seen this. We're now, I don't know if you want to call it woke culture, more social awareness is so prevalent in a mainstream sport with the best player. You know what I'm saying? Like you've never seen it where it all kind of came to a head in this matter. You've never seen this, where you've had people genuinely mad at LeBron who were LeBron stans like myself. And this is true. Have you seen the new Nike commercial with LeBron?
I have not yet, but I'm aware it's really good.
They're running it a lot, and it was on the other day. It was on yesterday. Prano and I were watching the Cowboys-Eagles game, and I said to Joe, I said, I just can't. I'm sorry. I know LeBron's done a lot of good things. I just can't. LeBron, he's killing it this year. I've enjoyed watching Lakers games. I can't take you serious. And I said that when all this went down. I can't take you serious when it comes to any social issues anymore. Sorry, bro. I tapped out. I'm done. You can maybe win me back, but I'm done. Like, when I watched that commercial, I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever, dude. I never watched a minute of the shop, and I won't. I don't care about your opinion anymore. Because you were chicken shit, plain and simple. I'll watch you ball on the court, but, it's fine.
Dwayne Wade came out the other day, was talking about what it was like to raise a gay son.
Yeah.
In today's society, especially as someone where he said he had to kind of he learned that he had some bias, and he had to be kind of Gabrielle Union kind of pulled him out of that.
Yeah.
And it was very touching and very loving to hear a dad talk about his son that way. And it was interesting to me that people can still, as you should, your son should always be number one. But it just reminds me that people are just so, NBA players are so thoughtful socially, and to have the China's just a blind spot. It's just a blind spot.
Yeah.
And
But it's not. But I don't want to just put this on LeBron. It's not just LeBron, as we know.
no, I'm not either.
It's Steve Kerr. It's Popovich. It's everybody, and it's just it's disappointing. It's what it is.
So that's night number 5.
I like it.
Do you have a number 5? Or is it my 4?
It's your number 4 because my number 5.
My number 4 is a piggyback on the first time winners, and also the 2 mega powers in LA. My number 4 is plainly Kawhi Leonard. Huge story this year, from winning a championship to leaving that team to joining the number 2 team in LA, scoffing the Lakers, forming his own team. The new Sam Amick article in The Athletic everyone should read, talking about the behind-the-scenes trials and tribulations. Everyone remembers or forgets the quadruple doink shot against the Sixers to get them there, where he's in the corner.
To get them just to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern Conference Final, where it's just bouncing around.
Yeah.
Incredible moment.
Had that Drake spin on it.
Had that Drake spin on it. And he takes down the Warriors. So, an incredible year.
Yeah.
And for me, it's an easy top 5. Maybe it could be higher, but I don't think there'll be, unless maybe he takes down the Lakers and that's the greatest thing that he'll ever do, but this is the greatest year of Kawhi Leonard's life.
I love it.
Number 4.
I love it. So, in a way, we flip-flopped.
Yeah.
My number 4 was NBA in China.
Oh, nice.
So in a way, we flip-flopped because Kawhi obviously led my LA power.
Yeah.
For number 5.
We're starting to sync up a little bit.
Starting to sync up a little bit. So my number 4 is NBA in China, and I think we've said it all about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we on to the top 3?
Let's do it.
My number 3 sports story of the year: the Astros cheating.
Yes. We're in sync a little bit because mine's related.
This story is fascinating because, again, you're not hearing much. Guys, we're talking about World Series titles, championships, ALCS. We're talking about
Hall of Fame eventual, pedigrees.
Yeah, regular season numbers, records. Like, this is major. This is for sure top 3 for me. How long was this going on? To what degree? There are so many ramifications of this. To me, it's a 100% top 3 story. And I feel like baseball doesn't know what to do. Nobody's talking about it. Obviously, we're in NFL. We have NBA going on. But baseball's just around the corner. Those pitchers and catchers will be reporting in a couple months. Not even a couple months. Less than that. It's a major problem. And it's also a major controversy and scandal for the league. And the league is focusing on nets. Nah. Get that shit out of there, Major League Baseball. You're focusing on the wrong thing. You're talking about a major cheating scandal, the biggest one we've seen since Pete Rose. He wasn't even cheating. He was just betting.
Steroids is bigger than this, right?
Yeah, that's true. So
But
that's my number 3, is the Astros.
Mine is correlated. Mine is the Washington Nationals. Why are they related? Obviously, they beat them in a big Game 7 World Series event. My question, too, before we move on is, to the Dodgers fans out there, hit me up on Twitter at Tug Coker or hit Dirty Sports up. Do you guys feel in any way
Cheated.
cheated? Do you feel cheated?
Yeah.
I mean, they made. Now Michigan didn't win the championship games, but they took down banners, Final Four banners.
I'd feel cheated if I was a Dodgers fan. How can you not?
I mean, in the NCAA, which is we all agree is terrible, revokes titles. If this story ends up being deeper, someone digs deeper and learns certain moments where I don't know.
What if the Astros have it's just like the Patriots? There's a do your job guy who's just banging on a garbage can.
You think it's like the Vuvuzelas in the World Cup, and it's just the guys or the Raiders, drum beat guys. That was it all along. But the Nationals for me at number 3.
Amazing story.
Incredible story, as Andy alluded to, first time winners, but also just the journey. Had Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
To borrow Bill Simmons' Ewing theory. Addition by subtraction. Very good. They get on. I mean, they get hot. They're down in the play-in game, wild card game against the Brewers. Howie Kendrick hits a grand slam against the Dodgers in the fifth game of the ALDS, I guess it was.
Yeah. NLDS.
NL, thank you. He does it again in the World Series. Incredible run. No team wins a home game in the World Series.
Wild.
Just an amazing story. So, and they beat the cheaters.
Yeah.
A team that, I think they do a lot of things right, but because, the book came out this year, Astro Ball, I think, came out. Everyone was talking about how revered, their worst to first resurgence is. There's a conveniently deleted chapter where they teach you how to cheat.
I believe that one was written by Bill Belichick.
Yeah, exactly. So number 3 for both of us, baseball.
Yeah, nice.
My number 2, you talked about earlier, but is my alma mater, UVA men's basketball winning the national championship. As you alluded to earlier, losing the year before to a 16 seed, making history.
Who was that? University of Maryland, Baltimore County?
That's correct.
Are they the Terriers?
I believe that's also correct.
Look at me.
I actually have no idea.
I think they are. I think they're the Terriers.
And similar to how the Nationals did it, the run that the UVA went on, the incredible shot against Purdue to send them into overtime.
Yeah.
Then going to the Final Four, where I attended, hitting crazy free throws, controversial free throws, and then, of course, winning in overtime against Texas Tech. An incredible run. It's my number 2 story of the year, Virginia Cavaliers.
Well, my number 2 and my number 1 were very hard. I could flip-flop these, to be honest. I could. My number 2, and he hasn't officially won it, but he's going to. Lamar Jackson winning the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought long and hard about this. One, no one saw this coming. No one. I don't care what anybody says. Find me. Tweet at me. Find me anybody who said Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP.
I've got Scott Barrett did it. It works for Pro Football Focus.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
Okay, well, that just shot down that theory.
But you're right. And I actually bet the Ravens to win the division. Because I'm a big Lamar guy, but I didn't see this sort of meteoric rise of second year.
And this is why Lamar's number 2 for me, and could be number 1. Like I said, this was tough for me to choose. He's not just winning the MVP. What he's doing out there, and I've been critical at times, he is literally changing the game, at least right now. You can't deny that. He's changing the way it's being played. And what he does, like when I'm watching that Browns game, and I posted this on social media, when he stops and basically begs the defender to come up to him, and he kind of fakes, he is definitely the equivalent of a guy breaking ankles in the basketball court. That's what he does when he runs. He doesn't have to throw, and he doesn't. Look at his numbers. He doesn't throw the ball that much. That system and that scheme work so well. unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire time watching football throughout my life. Have you seen anything like this?
Not in 1 year concentrated, but I mean we talked about this before. But Greg Roman, who's the offensive coordinator, has been a part of the reason that Michael Vick was successful, part of the reason Kaepernick was successful, and now he's doing with Lamar. He probably should be a head coach next year. So I'm interested to watch the scheme without Greg Roman. But incredible year. I've been a Lamar guy.
Yeah.
I was last year. Now I am interested to watch. At first thought when Cleveland, it was close in the first half, or early on in the game, I was like, I'm wondering how much when people scheme them a second time,
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
is it going to matter? But Cleveland's defense,
But also, I will be curious to see in the playoffs.
I agree, because they're going to play a lot of teams. Maybe the Chiefs,
And
maybe the Patriots.
And Chiefs D is playing great right now.
Yeah.
And the Patriots, you're right. So basically, he's seeing somebody a second time, even the Texans, who they obviously destroyed. But they destroyed all those teams, minus the Chiefs. But I'm just saying, I'll be curious to see. But what he's doing right now, you just can't deny it. So Lamar Jackson, again, winning the MVP and what he's doing, basically the state of football is my number 2.
Do you think that the Ravens will beat the Steelers without Lamar this week? Steelers need the win.
Who is it?
It's gonna be
RG3. I don't know, but I'll tell you this much. I am leaning towards the Ravens do not make the Super Bowl. I'm siding with my guy, Dion, who made a bold proclamation last night on Game Day Prime.
Who does he like?
Patriots again to make it. But now Dion is such a big Brady and Belichick guy, and how can you not be? And that's kind of his thing is, dude, come playoffs, let's see who knows, again, what it takes to win. It's not about having the flashy numbers in the big game. It's just knowing what to do to win. I think the Ravens, it's going to be, even though they have home field, by the way, home field doesn't mean much to me. It doesn't. On some of those teams, like especially going against the Patriots. They're probably going to have to beat the Chiefs and the Patriots. That's not easy, man. So if you had a gun to my head right now, I'd say I do not think the Ravens are making the Super Bowl. As great as I'm talking about them, I've said it too. Take Lamar outside of it. I think a loss is good. Dude, they haven't lost a game so long. They just haven't felt that.
I mean, they've been smoking people.
Minus the San Francisco game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This playoffs is going to be crazy fun.
Oh.
We have no idea. I mean, it could be in shock. It could end up being one versus one, but you got to feel like, every team minus the Texans or the Bills.
My boner for the NFL playoffs is it's already here.
Boing.
Yeah. And you know who gets to see that firsthand? Because he'll be here, Nick D'Alessandro.
Oh no.
Nick will be he'll be sitting on my bed filming me as I'm watching the games on the couch. And he'll be like, "What did I sign up for?" So your number 2 was UVA winning it all. My number 2 was Lamar Jackson winning the MVP. So number 1s.
Do you want me to go first or you?
I already know who you're going to have because you haven't said them yet. It's too obvious.
Well, let me tell you who I didn't say, just for fun, right? I didn't say Andrew Luck retiring.
Ooh.
Quite a story this year.
That's wild to me.
I didn't mention the AAF opening and folding.
The American Alliance Football League.
Correct. In 1 month because I couldn't pay anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't mention Andy Ruiz winning the heavyweight championship of the world, upsetting Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. Shout out to the other fellow Andy out there.
That's right. And I didn't mention, for you soccer heads, Liverpool winning their 6th Champions League all time.
We're all glad about that.
I also didn't mention the Angels throwing a combined no-hitter to raise up and support their
After Tyler.
fallen teammate,
Yeah.
Tyler Skaggs. Of course, there's only one person that could be number one in 2019 because it could be the story of the decade. That's right, golf fans. It's Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, y'all. Story number one. So much hate coming out of the Smut Studio for most this year. Tiger Woods hadn't won a major since 2008. He's done, they said. He'll be back when he finally wins a major, they said. Well, he does it. He wins the Masters. And not only that, he captains the President's Cup, plays in it, goes 3-0, and wins the title. Tiger Woods is the number one sports story of 2019.
His number 10 was Women's World Cup, and his number 1 was Tiger.
Because I knew where you were going. You're going meat and potatoes.
Oh, really? That's what I did?
Well, we'll
That's
see.
what I did?
We'll see.
Well, my number 1 is Andrew Luck. How can it not be? How can it not be? No one saw this coming. No one. He had a monster year last year. Behind a monster O-line. They gave up the fewest amount of sacks. They won a playoff game. They're Super Bowl contenders. How is it not number 1? No one's dude, if you looked at sudden professional sport retirements, he's got to be in your top 5.
I mean, Gale Sayers played 6 or 7 years.
I'm talking, come on.
Times we were alive.
Yeah. Obviously, Michael Jordan, his first retirement.
Yep.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders, yep.
Calvin Johnson.
I think so.
Fucking Detroit, man. Get it together. But that's what I'm saying. It's up there. Again, you talk about you'll never forget. I never forget what I was doing. I was sitting, because I do this a lot. I sit on the floor, and I'll lean against the couch and watch the TVs. I was sitting on the floor. It was an August day, and my phone was blowing up. There was preseason NFL or some shit, and I was watching some bad sports. And Prano was texting me, right when it broke, the tweet. And to me, it just, because it changed, he was a surefire Hall of Famer if he continued to play.
I agree.
So I just think someone of his skills and of his ability, I mean, for him, I'll be honest, it's I'm going to use the word, it's offensive that it's not on your list. How's that not on your list?
Well, it was an honorable mention. Definitely something that I thought about, but I think I was leaning more towards championship moments, and big themes to being my top 10 list. But I think it's a big story for sure. I think the Antonio Brown saga to me is more of a sports story than Andrew Luck for me.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's a crazy story. I mean, but it also paved the way for a really good quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. So we'll just have to see. But
it's so funny. Our number 1s could not be more different. And again, I felt I could have the Lamar Jackson story. I'm such a football guy, though. Like I really am. At the end of the day, that's my bread and butter. That's the boner stuff that I get. I get the boners over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's the football. I eat, sleep, and drink NFL Network. Now I am watching more NBA. Prano was talking about that yesterday. He can tell. He's like, you're watching the most. I'm watching the most NBA I've ever watched in my entire life at this point. It's the truth is, college basketball is just. It's just the product. It's just you can't compare.
No, NBA is. I said that the very first time I met you guys. It was like, as much as I love watching college sports, for me, I like watching the pro games better because it's just. I don't know why, because it's their job. It's just more refined.
And I'm like you. It doesn't mean I don't watch college basketball, but I've noticed it's tougher and tougher to watch. But again, obviously football dominated my list. But Andrew Luck for me, that was just a wild story.
It was crazy. I mean, I remember it too because he was at the game.
Yeah.
He was on the sideline. People started reading about it on the sideline
He got-
on their phones. He got booed
By his own team.
out of the stadium.
Shame on Colts fans.
People already knew. The other teams, other players on the team must have already known. I think that the organization kind of knew because they were making some.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You think he ever comes back?
I don't.
I don't either. From everything I've read about him, that's just a part of his life, or was a part of his life. He's a smart guy. He's a deep guy.
The Colts also let him keep $24 million or whatever it was. I mean,
yeah.
$24 million. It's people. I mean, you guys. We all know this. I mean, maybe there's a couple of millionaires out there.
You think we have millionaires
Andy
listening to the
Ruther.
show?
Andy Ruther is one of them. Just sitting on it. He actually sits on actual cash underneath his bed in the Smut studio.
Actually, I have a pillow made of cash. That'll be Nick's pillow when he sleeps on the Smut Studio couch.
He just pays me a brick for every episode that I guest host. But like this guy retired, and he got a set, send you off into the setting sun check for $24 million. That's more money. That's more money than we'll probably ever see.
Don't say ever.
I mean, I hope not. But you don't need to do a lot of things when you get $24 million.
Yeah. I know. You can upgrade that beard situation.
Seriously.
The neck beard? What's he doing? Come on. Come on, Locke.
It's a great story. I mean, I remember because a fantasy league that I was in had just drafted, and some people drafted Andrew Luck, and then the guy retires.
Was that a terrible day for the Twitter feed, the parody Twitter feed?
Oh yeah. Haven't seen it once. I've never gone back to it.
I'm looking right now. It still has 533,000.
When was the
Twitter
last time he
followers.
posted? Because the dude was selling merch.
Well, he posted a merch thing. No, you're right. He hasn't posted since he wrote basically the final farewell. August 25th. I wonder who writes that.
The Athletic did an article on it.
I mean, you're just sitting on 533,000. Bro, monetize that shit, fam.
Yeah, seriously.
What do you want for it, bro?
I mean, turn it into like the Derek Carr, Deputy Derek Carr, and start writing stuff like, I don't know.
Deputy Derek. Do a complete 180. Turn it into what's going on inside Antonio Brown's. Like, dude, could you even do an Antonio Brown parody because he's already so crazy? Like, inside Antonio Brown's head. You couldn't do that.
No, I agree.
That was a good list, Tug. I liked it.
Fun list, and it brings me to
Honorable mentions?
well, I threw a couple out there already, but it actually brought me to a bigger point that I wanted to bring up, which was best of the decade.
Ooh.
Now,
You told me to do that and I forgot.
well, it's okay. I'm gonna throw some out there, and I want to just get your opinion. Now, I think the dirtballs out there, if you liked our list or disliked our list, I think you should hit us up on social.
I like it.
Let us know whose lists you like better, and let us know who we missed. We might have missed something big. I don't know.
I'm sure we did.
I got dad brain. I'm buying Paw Patrol stuff, and I forget
Yeah.
some stuff. But
Tweeted us at The Dirty Sports, at Tug Coker, at Andy Ruther.
sports moments of the decade. Maybe there's some overall themes that we're missing. But I'm going to ask you about some.
I think you already know my moment, actually.
Well, I'm going to give you a couple things out there. Philly special. The Tua comeback against Georgia, championship game.
Of the decade?
Oh, I forgot about top 10 honorable mention. The pass interference call.
Yeah, by the way, that was, yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. 'Cause it actually changed the NFL.
I'm glad. That was on my honorable mentions. That was on my, does this make my top 10?
Yeah.
Great point.
So that's something that you and I both had eyed, because now games are slowed down
Oh,
because of this
dear God.
one horrible call.
Yeah.
That no one ever changes now. I don't know what the percentage is, but it never is
I
overturned.
think it was like 10 out of 75 or something. I also had Jared Goff's contract.
That's a good one.
Just as the reason it's an honorable mention is because I think teams are now going to start saying, fuck you, you're not worth that money." Like I think NFL teams have realized these contracts basically hinder your team from moving forward. And it couldn't be more obvious. I mean, even look at Wentz. Like is that Wentz contract is not worth it. Get out of here if you think it is.
But Wentz, I think Wentz, you hate the injury thing, but Wentz has had a terrible. The offense has been
They've been
dismantled.
No, I agree. But even the big contracts.
I think it's the running back big contracts that we're going to see first before we see the quarterbacks get broken down. I think people are going to really think twice about running backs.
Like, what was Russell Wilson's 4 years?
Not sure exactly.
He earned it this year.
Definitely.
Does he? But that's what I'm saying. Does he earn it? And I didn't think they should have given him that. Does he earn it the next few years? I mean, you look at guys like Patrick Mahomes is going to earn it.
Absolutely. I texted some friends of mine yesterday at the Cowboys-Eagles game. I said, this is the drive that's going to pay Dak or not. And it didn't. So I'm very curious to see what happens with Dak's contract this year.
I had a dirt ball, sorry if I forget your name, slid into my DMs.
Ow.
What would happen if Tom Brady went to the went to the
They're
Cowboys?
going to win 6 Super Bowls. If he goes to Cowboys?
Yeah.
It depends on the coach. I mean, he's at this age, you mean? Like he literally goes next year?
Yeah. Do they have a team?
Man.
You give Tom Brady those weapons, that running back, that O-line, that defense? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
I still don't think they win the Super Bowl.
They win 12 games next year. How can they not? With his experience?
Who are they going to get? That's my question. I mean, Mike McCarthy, who I predicted last year would be the next Dallas Cowboys coach,
He interviewed.
Interview with the Panthers today.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good move for the Panthers.
I heard that, and I just chuckled thinking of Joe Prano.
Yeah. Also, they trashed the reputation of Cam Newton. Are they going to bring Cam Newton back?
No, they can't.
So, but they have no answer.
They got to draft somebody.
They drafted Will Greer in the 3rd round. They refused to play him over Kyle Allen.
They played him this week, and he was terrible.
It was terrible. They knew. They knew they messed up. They drafted him in the 3rd round.
So let's do our top 10 moments of the decade.
So here's some moments I'm just throwing out there, and just like you're saying of the decade. The number one, you're never going to say this, but for the soccer heads, I might be saying it wrong. Leicester City.
Leicester
Or Leicester. I think it's
Leicester.
5,000-1.
Yeah.
Wins the Premier League.
No, I know.
2016. For Joe Prano, the Bartolo Colon home run. And then I have a couple of these. I think we should do a poll on social media. Cubs World Series. Tigers Masters.
Oh, God.
LeBron's with the Cavs.
There we go.
Nova over UNC buzzer beater. Malcolm Butler interception versus.
I think it's a no-brainer, in my opinion.
And the last one I'll give you is the Iron Bowl field goal return, whatever that play was called.
Wild. I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer, though. How is it not the Cubs?
Over the Cavs. This is where I think the debate gets interesting.
Ooh.
Cubs versus Cavs. I think it's probably Cubs too. But Cavaliers, what they did down 3-1.
The way that game ended.
And I'm, you guys are even bigger LeBron fans than I am, but like immortalized by the block. I don't know. I think it's hard to remember, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know if it's baseball or if it's basketball
Well,
or if
baseball was interesting. There was
Can you remember indelible moments?
a rain delay.
The rain delay. It went 10 innings, right?
It went 10
That's
innings.
all I remember.
Chapman was in. You remember that?
Yes.
He basically blew the save, right? And then they came back and won.
That's right.
And I believe, I could be wrong on this, I believe Chapman blew the save, but ended up getting the W. It was in Cleveland.
That's right.
I remember the Cavs players were there because that's what would have been so wild, right? They won the title, then the Indians win the title. It's just, for me, it's tough because obviously the city of Cleveland had not won a title for so long. The Cubs had not won a title for so long. Ooh, it's tough. It's really tough.
I'd be interested to hear what Prano's thought is too. So make sure you ask this on the podcast later on.
It's tough for me not to say Cubs, though. Now, obviously, the Warriors had won 73 games. Those are great stories, and let's give an honorable mention, Aaron Hernandez. The fact that you did, the fact that you did. I mean, we have an award on Dirty Sports named after him, the Aaron Hernandez Savage of the Year Award, which, by the way, the finalists will be announced at the beginning of the year. You excited about that Netflix series on him?
I am excited. I said this to you on a text that the Dirty Sports should do a recap show like after The Walking Dead, but for this documentary.
I love it. Nick's gonna be. Nick's not sleeping. Little does Nick know. Nick, you're coming to work.
You know, time is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you think about this too. You think about like, oh, it's one decade. But one decade is crazy. The beginning of a decade versus the end of the decade. I looked up the Santonio Holmes Pittsburgh Steelers catch was in this decade.
Wow.
The James Harrison run back of that Super Bowl was in this decade. You know,
You know how long ago that was? You know how long ago that was? I was still living in Savage Town here, but I was living in a 2-bedroom, the complete other end of the building, which is basically a different apartment. I was in a 2-bedroom. I watched that Super Bowl. In there.
You're like, I was 30 yards away from where I live now. That's how different this decade was.
No, bro. It's the other side of Venice, basically.
It's true. It's true. I'm wearing an Indiana State sweatshirt tonight to, commemorate my decade because one of the highlights of my decade, obviously playing Larry Bird on Broadway.
Love it.
So I want you to ask on social media, bigger sports moment of the decade. Cubs win World Series. Cavs win NBA championship. But I have to agree with you. I think it's down to those two.
I agree. It's got to be.
The other highlight that no one's going to care about at all is I looked it up tonight. Landon Donovan scores a late goal versus Algeria in 2010 World Cup for America. And if you're watching that game, you're going absolutely nuts.
I remember it. You want to hear the story?
You're on the other side of this building.
No, because at that point I moved in here in January of 2010. That was the Summer World Cup.
Yep.
I was working as a waiter and bartender at Hotel Oceana, and I went out with the Hotel Oceana crew. It was, I believe, am I wrong on this? Was that the same night the Lakers beat the Celtics in Game 7?
It's very possible.
They had a World Cup. Let me put it this way. They had a World Cup. We were all at a bar celebrating the Lakers win. I go out with a bunch of people I work with. They participate in some booger sugar for those of you who cocaine. So this is true. I've never done cocaine, thank God, because it's not my thing. And so they were like, "We've got to stay for the World Cup." So what makes you stay up? Cocaine. So we drink all night. Or no, this is a humble brag. They were like, "Ruther can just drink beer to stay up. We need cocaine." So we go. The dude had this great theater. He had a theater in his apartment complex in Santa Monica. It was like a really nice building that he lived in, Tug. So imagine 5 idiot guys go in to watch the World Cup. The game started at 4 a.m.
Yeah, it was so early.
Yeah.
South Africa, I remember.
Yeah, and they're out of their mind. The Lakers had just won the title, so all of L.A. is celebrating. And I just remember we watched the whole game, and I walked out of there, and it was 7 a.m., and I remember I had to be at work at 1, to wait tables, and I was like, oh, I gotta go home and get some sleep. And I went home. You know how it is. You get no sleep, and I show up to work, and like everybody had called off but me. And my manager's like, we're so far behind. Like, you gotta like do like I had to do all the shit I didn't normally have to do, and I was like, dude, this is what I get. This is what I get for not doing blow. like I'm punished, and for showing up to work. And I believe that was the Algeria game with Landon Donovan.
You have like flecks of cocaine in your system, but it's like natural cocaine.
Yeah,
Just the upper that you already have in the system.
yeah. It's so isn't it funny?
Special breed.
Isn't it funny the things you remember though, like with sports? This is why I always love. I have a very I feel like you are too. I'm a very nostalgic person, and my mind goes so many places with sports and music, and I think that's normal. But especially those two, like when I hear a song, my mind will just go somewhere.
Definitely. Music for sure. And there's a couple great videos on YouTube that you guys should look up, like moments of the decade. Really entertaining, fun, like takes you right back to these moments. You know, whether or not they're the ultimate storyline, but you like, you know, when Villanova hits that buzzer beater, or they do a great intercut in this video of a couple moments where Bartolo Colon is trotting around.
Prano was there
In San Diego, right?
How wild is that?
I know.
He was at the game.
So they do a nice funny cut of like him trotting around and they intercut like other sport moments.
Well, speaking of at the game, you and I mean, talk about moments of the decade. The best live sporting event that I witnessed in this decade, that Chiefs-Rams Monday Night Football game.
That was a great game. Probably definitely the best football game I've been to. And I've been to another great one. I've been to two of the top 10 highest scoring games of all time. I saw Peyton beat Tony Romo 51-48 a few years back.
Wow.
So, but that game was awesome. Because, people forget, like, it was supposed to be in Mexico, got moved.
Shakira.
That's right. And everyone was scoring. Everyone, like, that was the vintage
You know what I always
Goff, whatever Goff. I don't know what vintage Goff is now, but.
You know what I remember? You know what I love about that game? Prano goes to get a beer and a pretzel. Like, I didn't leave my seat the entire game because the scoring was nonstop. Prano leaves. I mean, how long could he have been gone? It wasn't that long. He gets a beer and a pretzel, and he comes back, and no lie, like 2 touchdowns happen, and he looks at me and he goes, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Dude, I was gone 10 minutes." I'm like, "Yeah, man, you can't leave your seat this game. Like, you cannot leave your seat."
And that's a testament to the game, but also to how terrible the bathrooms are at the Coliseum. And then,
Not in that new stadium, Tug.
I know.
Are you going to end up taking that other seat with me?
I'm either taking that seat or the seat next to you.
I got seats 3 and 4
Ooh.
right next to the aisle.
Woo.
So I don't know who has 1 and 2.
Woo. Woo.
How much? Seriously, how much do those tickets go up if Tom Brady joins the Chargers next year? I'm not even joking.
No, you're right. You're right.
What's the value of? And by the way, the Patriots do come to L.A. next year to play the Chargers. How much do those season tickets suddenly cost? I'm gonna sell every ticket. I'm gonna be just making money.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna be able to afford to have Nick D'Alessandro be out here the whole year.
Maybe I'll get him a.
Get him his own couch.
No, you know what they sell? This is pretty funny. You know what they sell at Costco right now? This should be Nick's bed. It's an ottoman with a pull-out bed.
Oh, God.
They sell for like $300. It'd be like that ottoman, but like a lot bigger, and it pulls out into a couch.
Perfect for Nick.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's walking into.
Oh no,
Dude, this was a good list. I'm glad we did this.
yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's a way to we're gonna recap the year, recap the decade.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know about the Cavs or the Cubs. That's it. So that's it.
And then I'm gonna have to get Prano on the phone here to make our Week 17 picks. He's cut his 10-point deficit down to 2 heading into the final week.
And remind me, what is the bet?
The loser has to wear the L chain the full 2 weeks in between the championship games and the Super Bowl, everywhere.
Oh, that's gonna be great. It's perfect for Nick
Yeah.
if he's still here.
I was like,
He's still alive.
Poor Nick's gonna be stuck going to Trader Joe's with me, Costco. He's gonna just see like my weird life that I have, my dad life.
Your dad life. Oh man,
It's offensive to you.
It is
isn't
offensive.
Speaking of that,
You're canceled. We're calling.
Are the kids sleeping right now?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Well, Tug, I appreciate you coming over here, man.
Of course.
Where can people follow you on Twitter?
Tug Coker on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, had a great time with Kyle Aronofsky,
Yeah.
didn't we? It's always fun to be out the dirt balls. So, hope all the dirt balls out there have a great holiday season. Great New Year's.
Do they spell it holiday SZN?
That's right. It's holiday season. And I don't know. Thanks for listening when I'm on. I appreciate it. Have a great end of the year, a great start to 2020, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Cool. Well, we're going to end this section of the show, and I will get Joe Prano on the phone to do our Week 17 NFL picks. And for everybody on YouTube, go download the audio of that. Thanks, Dirtballs, and stay dirty.